unconscious self. Unconscious when you're totally out. A little linguistic benefit here for people. A lot of us say, I did that unconsciously. No, my friend, you did it subconsciously. Unconsciously, you had to be out. You were sleepwalking, for instance. I was unconscious when I did it. They knocked me out. No, that's not what you meant. You meant you didn't pay attention. You did it subconsciously, below the level of consciousness. By reflexes. Huh? So the thought process is so powerful that anything we do is triggered by some thought within us. There is some inner desire. And inshallah, together, me and you, bi'idhnillah, or you and I, will try to dig into some of these desires that move us and shred them apart and analyze them and see what's really happening inside us when we do things. We do things and our desires move us. And a lot of us are not paying attention to those desires. Sometimes we are afraid to face up with the desires. We are afraid to face up with those emotions. We don't want to confront them. I think the best strategy is for a person to learn the antidote for each negative emotion and then face it. And say, let's see who is man. You gotta face the self. Don't be afraid of it. You have to know it, how it works. And you have to conquer the self. That's part of the process of purification of the self. And inshallah we'll talk about this in future lessons. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. Allah says in Quran in Surah Ash-Shams, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. And by the self and the way we have shaped it, we have formed it, we have constructed it and inspired it with its wrong and righteousness, or inclination towards wrong and piety. He has indeed been successful who purifies it. That's the nafs, the self. And he has been destroyed who tramples upon it. We're talking about here the formation of the nafs. We want to understand this nafs, how it's formed. Inshallah, in the future we'll talk about fujuraha wa taqwaha, on righteousness and its righteousness, its piety. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا and تَزْكِيَةُ النَّفْسِ, the process of purifying the nafs. So that insha'Allah we be amongst those who are successful, insha'Allah. So there is a trigger. There is a stimulus. Something happened. Something happened. And you have to respond. Isn't that what our life is about? Is life other than a series of actions? Isn't our life, an act after another, continuously? Allah knows what, 10 million in a lifetime? Perhaps, for one who lives a full life. Wa alaikum assalam. Something happens that requires an answer. We call the thing that happened a stimulus or a trigger. Something triggered an action that requires a reaction. You have a choice. By the permission of Rabbul Alameen, you have a choice. And between the action or the stimulus or the trigger and the reaction, there is a space. There's a space between the two. Sometimes it's small, sometimes it's large. It's good to try to expand that space. A good advice is that if something happened that you have to respond to, take as much time as is necessary, as is possible, and then respond. Hey, sometimes you have to think quick and you have to come up with an answer real quick. You waste time and you're a dead duck. You're crossing the road and you hear beep beep. It's a car. Now you don't have time to say, the Sheikh said there is a space. So you're about to cross the road and a car blows the horn to draw your attention that, hey, you're in danger. What do? Your natural instincts, your fitra within you, the desire to preserve life. One of the most basic emotions or directives within us. Self-preservation. Most people will do pretty much most things or anything to save his life. A man cannot be held accountable for saving his life. That's why whatever you have to do for self-defense, you're excused for. If something is threatening your life and you had to stop it, of course, not using excessive force, within reason. So instinctively, you find the nafs would say, hey, buddy, there's a car there. Do something. What does it do? It makes a decision. The conscious mind or the subconscious mind might kick in. You might even have to think about this. Sometimes you don't even have to think about this. It happens without you consciously rationalizing. Sends a signal to the brain. I made up my mind. I know what to do. I already decided. And the neurological system of the human being kicks into gear and sends some signal by chemical processes, whatever, Allah knows the details of that. And releases adrenaline within the human being. And what does that adrenaline do? It moves you. You just kick into high gear without even passing through low gears. Bang! You jump! And you run out of the way. So sometimes there is a stimulus, car horn blowing, and a reaction, you jumping out the way. There's not a lot of time to deliberate and analyze. And your natural instinct would just